Have you ever woken up feeling a little stiffer than usual? Or maybe you've noticed that things you used to do with ease, like carrying groceries or climbing stairs, are starting to feel just a little more challenging. If so, you're not alone. As we age, our bones naturally lose density, making them more fragile. But here's the good news: osteoporosis is not inevitable. You have the power to protect your bones and keep them strong with just a few simple changes to your diet and daily routine. Today, we're diving into exactly how to do that. You're going to learn how to prevent osteoporosis after 50 with easy, practical food and fitness tips. And make sure you stay until the end because the last tip might surprise you. It's one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to build stronger bones. Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer. This video is for informational purposes only. I'm sharing research-backed insights, but everyone's health is different. Always consult your doctor before making changes to your diet or exercise routine. Now, let's get started. So first, let's talk about what osteoporosis really is and why it happens. Our bones might seem solid and unchanging, but they're actually living tissue that constantly renews itself. When we're young, our bodies build bone faster than they break it down. But as we get older, especially after 50, that process slows down, and we start losing more bone than we build. This is why osteoporosis is often called the silent disease. Most people don't even realize their bones are weakening until they experience a fracture. But here's the exciting part. We can slow down this process and even reverse some of the damage with the right habits. Let's start with the first habit that can completely change the way you feel every day: getting enough calcium and vitamin D. These two nutrients are like the dynamic duo of bone health. Calcium is the building block of bones, and vitamin D helps your body absorb it properly. Without enough of both, your body starts pulling calcium from your bones, making them weaker over time. Now, you might be thinking, I drink milk, so I'm probably getting enough calcium, right? Well, not necessarily. Many people over 50 don't absorb calcium as efficiently as they used to. That's why it's important to get calcium from a variety of sources. Dairy products like yogurt and cheese are great, but if you're lactose intolerant or prefer non-dairy options, leafy greens like kale and collard greens, almonds, and even canned salmon with bones are excellent choices. And let's not forget about vitamin D. It's often called the sunshine vitamin because our skin produces it when exposed to sunlight. But as we age, our skin becomes less efficient at making vitamin D, and many of us spend more time indoors, which can lead to deficiencies. Research suggests that up to 40% of adults over 50 may not be getting enough vitamin D. That's why it's a good idea to include foods like fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified cereals in your diet, or consider a supplement if recommended by your doctor. Now, what if I told you that one of the best ways to strengthen your bones isn't just about what you eat, but how you move? That's right, exercise plays a huge role in keeping your bones strong. But not just any exercise. Weight-bearing and resistance exercises are key. Studies show that activities like walking, dancing, and even simple bodyweight exercises like squats and lunges can stimulate bone growth. If you're thinking, but I'm not the gym type, don't worry. You don't need to lift heavy weights or do intense workouts. Even light strength training with resistance bands or small dumbbells can make a huge difference. I once knew a woman named Linda who started doing chair exercises in her 60s. At first, she was hesitant. She thought, is this really going to help? But within a few months, she noticed she was feeling stronger, standing taller, and even had more energy throughout the day. The key is consistency. Even just 15 to 30 minutes a day can help maintain bone density and improve balance, reducing the risk of falls and fractures. And speaking of balance, practices like yoga and Tai Chi are fantastic for improving stability and coordination, which become more important as we age. Now that we've covered these essential habits, let's move on to something just as important: how small daily changes can add years to your life. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next might be the missing piece in your bone health journey. Now that we've covered how calcium, vitamin D, and the right kind of exercise can help keep your bones strong, let's talk about something just as important: how the foods you eat every day can either protect or weaken your bones over time. You might be thinking, I already eat a pretty healthy diet, and that's great. But there are a few sneaky foods that can actually speed up bone loss without you even realizing it. Let's start with something that's in nearly every kitchen: salt. Yes, that little shaker on your table could be affecting your bone health more than you think. Research shows that a high-sodium diet causes your body to excrete more calcium through urine. In other words, the more salt you consume, the more calcium your body loses. Now, I'm not saying you have to completely eliminate salt. After all, food should be enjoyable. But cutting back on processed and packaged foods, which are often loaded with hidden sodium, can go a long way. Instead, try using fresh herbs and spices like garlic, basil, or turmeric to flavor your meals. Not only do they make your food taste delicious, but some spices, like turmeric, actually have anti-inflammatory properties that can support bone health. Speaking of inflammation, let's talk about sugar. We all know it's not great for us, but did you know that excess sugar can actually weaken your bones? Studies suggest that diets high in sugar can interfere with calcium absorption and contribute to inflammation in the body. And inflammation isn't just bad for your joints. It can also speed up bone loss. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I love my sweets. And that's totally understandable. The key is moderation. If you have a sweet tooth, try swapping out refined sugar for natural options like honey or fresh fruit. Berries, in particular, are a fantastic choice because they're packed with antioxidants that help fight inflammation. Plus, they taste amazing. All right, now let's talk about something you might not expect: protein. A lot of people assume that protein is only important for muscle health, but it's actually crucial for your bones, too. Your bones are made up of about 50% protein by volume, and research shows that getting enough protein helps improve calcium absorption. But here's where it gets interesting. Too much protein, especially from processed meats, can have the opposite effect and actually lead to calcium loss. So what's the right balance? The key is to focus on high-quality protein sources like lean meats, fish, eggs, dairy, beans, and nuts. And plant-based proteins like lentils and quinoa are fantastic options too. I know someone, a woman named Carol, who switched from eating mostly processed meats to adding more plant-based proteins into her diet. Not only did her digestion improve, but she also felt more energetic, and her doctor even noticed an improvement in her bone density. Now, there's another sneaky culprit that could be working against your bone health: caffeine. I know. Many of us love our morning cup of coffee or tea. And don't worry, I'm not here to tell you to give it up completely. But studies suggest that drinking too much caffeine, especially more than 4 cups of coffee per day, can interfere with calcium absorption. If you're a coffee lover, one simple trick is to enjoy your coffee with a source of calcium, like a splash of milk or a calcium-fortified plant-based milk. That way, you're balancing things out. And while we're on the topic of drinks, let's talk about alcohol. A glass of wine here and there? No problem. But excessive alcohol consumption has been linked to lower bone density and an increased risk of fractures. If you enjoy an occasional drink, try to stick to moderation. Experts recommend no more than 1 drink per day for women and 2 for men. All right, we've talked about what to avoid, but what about the foods that can actually help build stronger bones? One of the best diets for bone health is the Mediterranean diet. This way of eating is rich in whole foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, healthy fats, and lean proteins. Studies have found that people who follow a Mediterranean-style diet tend to have higher bone density and a lower risk of fractures. One of the reasons this diet is so powerful is because it's packed with magnesium, potassium, and vitamin K, all of which play a crucial role in bone strength. Magnesium, for example, helps activate vitamin D so your body can absorb calcium properly. Foods like almonds, spinach, and avocados are great sources of magnesium. Vitamin K is another bone-boosting nutrient that often gets overlooked. It helps regulate calcium in the bones and has been shown to reduce the risk of fractures. Leafy greens like kale, spinach, and Brussels sprouts are excellent sources of vitamin K. Now, if all of this feels overwhelming, don't worry. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. The best approach is to make small, sustainable changes. Maybe that means swapping out processed snacks for a handful of almonds, or adding a serving of leafy greens to your lunch. Little by little, these small shifts add up. And here's something that might surprise you. Your gut health also plays a role in your bone health. That's right, the health of your digestive system can affect how well your body absorbs nutrients like calcium and magnesium. This is where probiotics come in. These are the good bacteria that help keep your gut balanced and healthy. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi are all great sources of probiotics, and including them in your diet can improve nutrient absorption and support overall health. Now that we've covered all these bone-boosting foods, let's move on to something just as important: how to stay active and prevent falls as we age. Because let's face it, no matter how strong your bones are, falls can be a major risk. But with the right exercises and simple lifestyle adjustments, you can reduce that risk significantly. Stay with me, because up next, we're going to talk about the best ways to improve your balance and stay steady on your feet. Now that we've covered the best foods for bone health and how to make simple swaps in your diet, let's talk about something just as important: movement. Because even if you're eating all the right foods, your bones still need the right kind of exercise to stay strong. And one of the biggest concerns as we age isn't just bone loss, it's the risk of falling. Falls are one of the leading causes of fractures in older adults. But here's the good news: you can dramatically reduce your risk with a few simple habits. One of the best ways to stay steady on your feet is by working on your balance and flexibility. And no, you don't have to be a yoga expert to do this. Even small daily movements can make a big difference. Let me tell you about someone I know. His name is Paul. He's 72, and a few years ago, he noticed that he wasn't as steady as he used to be. One time, he tripped on a curb and nearly fell, which made him realize he needed to do something. He started practicing simple balance exercises, things like standing on one foot while brushing his teeth, or doing gentle heel-to-toe walks in his living room. Within weeks, he noticed an improvement. And today, he says he feels more confident walking around, even on uneven surfaces. It's amazing what just a few minutes a day can do. Simple balance exercises like standing on one leg for 10 to 15 seconds, walking in a straight line heel to toe, or even gentle Tai Chi movements can train your muscles to react faster, helping prevent falls before they happen. Now, let's talk about another powerful way to protect your bones: strength training. If you've ever thought, "I'm too old to start lifting weights," let me tell you, You are never too old. In fact, research shows that even people in their 70s and 80s can build muscle and improve bone density with resistance exercises. You don't need heavy weights or complicated gym equipment to get started. Simple bodyweight exercises like squats, leg lifts, and wall push-ups can strengthen your muscles and improve bone strength. If you have resistance bands, they're a fantastic way to add gentle resistance without straining your joints. And if you prefer using light weights, start small. Just 2 to 3 pound dumbbells can be incredibly effective. One study from Tufts University found that women over 50 who did strength training twice a week saw an increase in bone density, improved balance, and even reduced symptoms of arthritis. And it's not just about bones. Strength training also helps maintain muscle mass, which naturally declines with age. Stronger muscles mean better support for your joints, better posture, and more overall energy. But what if you have joint pain or limited mobility? That's where low-impact exercises come in. Swimming and water aerobics are fantastic options because the water reduces strain on your joints while still providing resistance to strengthen your muscles. Even gentle chair exercises can help improve circulation, flexibility, and strength without putting stress on your bones. And let's not forget about walking. It's one of the simplest, most effective exercises for bone health. A brisk 30-minute walk most days of the week can help maintain bone density and improve overall well-being. If you have access to nature trails, even better. Studies suggest that walking on uneven terrain, like grass, sand, or forest trails, engages more muscles and improves balance more than walking on a flat sidewalk. Now, you might be wondering, how do I stay motivated to keep moving? Because let's be honest, starting a new habit is one thing, but sticking with it long-term is where the real challenge lies. One of the best ways to stay consistent is to make movement enjoyable. If you dread going to the gym, find something that excites you instead. Maybe it's a dance class, gardening, or even playing with your grandkids. The key is to move in a way that feels good for you. Another great trick is to have an accountability partner. Whether it's a friend, family member, or even an online community, having someone to check in with can make all the difference. I know a woman named Susan who started a walk and talk routine with her neighbor every morning. Rain or shine, they meet up and walk around their neighborhood while chatting. And because it's part of their daily routine, they never skip it. And here's something really powerful: setting small, achievable goals. Instead of saying, "I need to exercise more," try setting a goal like, "I'll do 10 minutes of stretching every morning," or "I'll walk for 20 minutes 3 times this week." When you hit those small goals, it builds momentum and keeps you motivated. Now, before we move on, I want to touch on something that often gets overlooked when it comes to bone health: your mindset. A lot of people assume that aging means slowing down, but that doesn't have to be the case. In fact, research shows that staying socially engaged and maintaining a positive outlook can actually help you stay healthier for longer. Have you ever noticed that people who stay active and engaged in life tend to look and feel younger? That's not just a coincidence. Studies suggest that having a strong sense of purpose, whether it's volunteering, learning a new skill, or simply staying connected with friends and family, can reduce stress and even lower the risk of chronic diseases, including osteoporosis. So, if you've ever thought, "What's the point? I'm too old to start now," I want to remind you, every small step you take today is an investment in your future self. Whether it's adding a little more movement to your day, making smarter food choices, or simply staying socially connected, you are in control of your health. Now that we've covered all these powerful strategies, let's wrap things up with some final words of motivation and a simple challenge you can start today. Because taking care of your bones isn't just about avoiding fractures. It's about staying strong, independent, and vibrant for years to come. Stay with me, because up next, I'm going to give you a challenge that could change the way you feel every single day. Now that we've covered the most important food and fitness strategies for keeping your bones strong, let's bring it all together with some final takeaways and a challenge that just might change the way you feel every single day. We've talked about how osteoporosis isn't just something that happens as we age. It's something we can actively prevent by making small, consistent choices. From choosing bone-nourishing foods to staying active and keeping our balance strong, every little effort adds up. And here's the best part: it's never too late to start. I've seen people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s completely transform their strength and mobility just by making a few key changes. I once met a woman named Barbara, who had always assumed that her joint pain and weak bones were just part of getting older. But when she started incorporating more leafy greens, adding a simple 10-minute strength routine, and walking regularly, she was shocked at how much better she felt. Within months, she had more energy, her balance improved, and even her doctor noticed a difference in her bone density. That's the power of small, daily habits. But here's the thing: knowing what to do is one thing. Actually doing it is another. That's why I want to leave you with a simple, doable challenge that you can start today.